Hello everyone, welcome to Code and Learn. So in the last video, we started using mockgens to generate mocks from our interfaces, and we also updated the test to use them. This was done because that makes our job easier as we are generating mocks with mockgen and not relying on created mocks manually, which would be cumbersome. Next thing we want to do is update the interface here to match what we created in new store, that is the store that rely on Postgres, because we no longer want to use the in-memory store. So let's update this interface to match the operations that we have in the Postgres store that we created. First we have is create. I'm just going to copy paste it from here. Don't need the name of the argument. I can just do import context. This needs to be news.record. So we need to import the news package and then say news.record. Similarly here, news.record. Don't worry about the test complaining. We will update them shortly. Next is find by ID. Similar thing, I will just copy paste it here, remove the names and then do news.record. Next we have is find all, remove the argument name, again news.record, then delete by ID, remove the names, and finally update by ID. Just copy the signature from here and then paste it here. Remove the names, save it, and that's it. Now we need to start using them. For create, we need to pass the context. I'm just going to use the request context, so we can just save it in a variable context is equal to r.context and then use it here as context and then context. Now this is complaining because what we are parsing using validate is not record but the struct that we declared in the in-memory store, this one. We will update this in a moment. First let's just update all the handlers to use the Postgres store instead. Again context r.context, use the context, update this to say context. Again we need to update this response to use the record. Similar thing here, cdx or context r.context, use the context, pass the context along with the news id. cdx r.context, context news.id or n.id and then news. Similar to this, we should have context r.context, cdx and then cdx here. Now let's update the validate method to return a record or news.record. Here let's call it record. Just do record. Let's update it to say we are going to return a pointer. Here we just say pointer to news.record. Need to update it to return a string. That's it. Now go back to handler again. The next one we are going to update is all news response. In here we are just going to say news.record. That should resolve that error, and it's complaining because we are returning a pointer to pointer. So if I update this, this should be fixed. Another error similar to this. Now as you can see, all those errors have been fixed. Now the next thing we need to do is update handler test. It's complaining because we haven't run mockgen to create new mocks from the interface that we updated. So let's do that. Make generate, and that should update the mocks. Now create accepts two values, so we can just say gomock.any and gomock.any. Save it. That error is resolved. I would suggest you to also update this to match on the request body that you parse. But for ease of use, I'm just going to do gomock.any. Similar thing here. Gomock.any, that fixes that. Find all requires a context, so gomock.any, gomock.any, again gomock.any, gomock.any. Similar for update by id, gomock.any requires three values. I will do gomock.any for all three. Similar thing here, gomock.any, gomock.any, and that's it. Delete by id will also accept the context and id, so gomock.any and gomock.any. That's it. Now this has been fixed. Let us update main to actually use the Postgres store. db error postgres.newsdb, provide the config. The config values need to come from environmental variables that will tell it to which instance of Postgres the database needs to connect to. This is something we will cover on later. For now, let's just provide an empty config. If error not is equal to nil, log the error, say db error, provide the error and just exit os.exit 1. Otherwise, we create a new store, news.newstore, pass the db and then use it here. So now our application is using the PostgreSQL-based store. Let me run fmt to format everything we have added. Here it says we are shadowing the package name news, so I can just do n and here n. Then the next is similar thing here and save it, try again. Cool, that passed. Now let us verify that our tests are working as well. So make test. It's throwing some errors because validate is throwing errors. So we need to update these tests to make sure we are using the right values. That is because we updated the signature of validate to return the news record. So this here should be a record and we are comparing it here with what we have in the expectation. So expectations need to be updated to say news.record. Save it again, news.record. Here we will say string, save it, and let's try it again. So we are expecting a news record, but we got a pointer. So let's do that and make it a pointer. Update here and say this, try again. And as you can see, the tests are passing. Just to make sure everything has been fixed, we run make test. And as you can see, all tests are passing. Now if I try make run, you will see we are erroring out because the configuration we provide to our Postgres store or Postgres-based store is empty. So we are unable to parse the configurations. That we will fix later. But for now, we need to also update to react to the custom error sent by the store or returned by the store and then return the appropriate error. Let's do that in the next lesson. If you have any questions, please post a comment under the video or reach out to our Discord server. Until next time, happy coding.